Good morning, this is a short screencast about breadcrumbs. So here I'm looking at a product page, and what it's displaying is a product inside the correct category, i.e. it's inside smartphones, which of course is nested inside some other categories. Now I'm looking at this as part of my Shopify store, and I'm looking at a page that has the long form URL. So you can see up here it's got the long form URL that includes collections, and as a result it's able to identify which collection I want to show this product in. However, the problem here is that not all themes produce these long form URLs. Here, if I go to my front page, I have a link on here to view a product and a link to view a collection. If I go into the view product link, I'll go to a short form URL. You can see up here there is no reference to the collection, and as a result it's dropped this phone into the my best deals category, not the category I'd like it to display in by default. Now the product here is being shown in a collection that's not the right collection, and that's why the breadcrumb isn't correct. The issue is created by my theme. It's because my theme is using these short form URLs. Now, if I go into a collection, I am using the long form URLs, and that's because in this collection, I've enabled inside my Shopify theme editor, I've enabled the short link fix. The short link fix is one of those things I can do inside the category breadcrumbs settings. If I go up here into the default collection page, I can show that for the breadcrumbs that appear on these collection pages, I'm just going to select that same collection we were looking at a second ago, smartphones. For breadcrumbs that appear on these collection pages, if I go to the settings for category breadcrumbs, I can choose to enable the short link fix. And the short link fix allows me to take the default settings of the theme, i.e. that this theme produces short links. Really, this stuff should be fixed in the theme, but I'm not going to get into that at the moment. It takes these short links and it converts them to long form links. So if I click on a product from a collection page, it goes to the long form link, and that means that I'm seeing. Now this doesn't affect SEO because all of this stuff is being done over the top in JavaScript. The SEO benefits of having content in one place are a little bit undecided. Duplicate content can impact your Google ranking, and so one of the things that people have been encouraged to do is to have their content just in one place, or better, to use the rel equals canonical tag and actually identify all these long form pages as going to a single page. That's what these themes should be doing, but they're not. Anyway, we have this situation. What I'm trying to do here is just help you cope with that situation in a really good way that doesn't impact your SEO. So we've seen that the problem is all right for links that come from collection pages when we're using the short link fix. However, that doesn't solve it for everything. As we saw at the start of this themecast, when we click on links that for whatever reason, perhaps from a featured block or something, go to a page that doesn't have that long form URL, we end up with this this URL structure that isn't the one we want. It's not going to the right category, and the reason for that is that we've got this product in multiple categories. If I go to the product, what we're going to see is if I edit this product, it's a Samsung phone we've been looking at. I can see here on the right hand side this appears in multiple categories, and without the information in the URL to tell the browser which version of this product we're looking at, the one that sits inside best deals, the one that sits inside mobile phones, or the one that sits inside smartphones, it has to guess. Shopify will give to the product page a list, an unordered list of these categories. We cannot guarantee exactly what order they appear in because that's controlled by Shopify, but we can change the breadcrumb. So if I go into the online store and go into the theme editor again, customize our Dawn theme, and go this time to the default product page, because last time around we were looking at the default collection page for the breadcrumb on collections. Here we're looking at the product page to show a breadcrumb on products, and I'm going to change the preview here to that same Samsung phone that we've been looking at. Then you can see that by default at the moment, this is showing up in the home technology mobile phones category. So if I go to category breadcrumbs and I scroll down to this section, product templates only, then there's this description of what we can do. Now, the description talks about using long form URLs, which is absolutely the best way of doing this, but it also allows us to, when we encounter an unidentified product, and it's in multiple collections, which one we should use. Currently, it's going to select the first possible breadcrumb, but I can change this to select the last possible breadcrumb. So the breadcrumb here changes from home technology mobile phones, smartphones, from home technology mobile phones to home technology smartphones. If I flick backwards and forwards between the two, you can see that we've got that version and that version. The other option here is to select this show generic breadcrumb, which allows us to just show a generic breadcrumb instead, and we can control what that breadcrumb looks like. Now, that breadcrumb will show for all of our products, so it's not necessarily the best fit, but it does give you the option, if you want to keep this really, really simple, and just have every product appearing in the same collection, you can use a generic one. I don't think that's the best option, which is why the default here is to use the first one. Now, for whatever reason, it might be that these two options, the first in Shopify's unordered list that we can't control, is not the best. Maybe it's not the one we want, and maybe if we select the last, perhaps that's not the one we want either, especially because this is unordered across all the different products, and so we're doing something consistently for all the products here because we're in the default product template, and so it's a matter of trying to work out an alternative. Now, to emphasize, again, the absolute best solution to this problem is to solve it using long form URLs. That is the way that this should be solved. But what we're trying to do here is find an alternative for themes where you're stuck with these short form URLs. I don't think Shopify will be changing the Dawn theme anytime soon. And so if you're using the default Dawn theme, and this is one of those things that occurs there, and you want this set up, then I've come up with an alternative. The alternative here, folks, is to use metafields. So if you read this here, we can set the default collection handle in a metafield on our products to force these products to that place. So first of all, if I go to the product page, then here you can see it's showing up in technology mobile phones, which is what we set in here. So we had set it as technology mobile phones, and then I changed it. So and we can do it either way around, I'll set last possible, and that way it's going to show smartphones. And if I save that, that will then mean I can refresh this page, and now it shows up in smartphones. Let's say for whatever reason I want to show it in another one of the categories. There is one called a collection called My Best Deals, and perhaps I want all of my phones to show up in my best deals. I'm going to do that using a metafield, and I'm going to show you how to create a metafield and how to set it on a product page. If I go into my theme editor, and here I go to settings, scroll down to metafields, I want to look at product metafields, and there aren't any set up at the moment. So what I'm going to do is add a definition. It's asking me for the name of the metafield that I want to create. So I'm going to create one called default collection handle. It doesn't exist already, but default collection handle means that the namespace auto populates with this my underscore fields default underscore collection underscore handle, and that's what it needs to be. The description is optional, but I'm just going to remind myself that this is the default collection used when used with a short form URL, and it's asking me to select the content type. I will expose this to the storefront API request, although it's not essential, but I'm happy for that. Select the content type, and in here I'm going to choose a text content type. It's a single line text field, and we don't accept multiple values, so not worried about any validation either, and save. Now at this point, that means I've now created this meta field, and if I go back here to my product page and find that Samsung phone, this one. Then in all the other fields that now show up on this page, there is also a metafield, and the metafield is called default collection handle. Now, if this metafield is not filled in, everything carries on working exactly as it is. So if you find that for 90% of your store you're happy with using the first or the last from the list, then that means you don't need to populate these metafields. However, if there are a few products that don't show up quite where you want them to show up, you can force them to a specific place using this mechanism. Using this mechanism, the default collection handle. To do that, we need to look at the default collection. So I'm going to open my best deals here. This is the collection and I want to view it. So these are my best deals. And as I look at this collection, it's got all my products in. There's the Galaxy phone. So you can see that would just link through as normal. One of the things that I want to do is I want to force it to my best deals, and for that I need the my best deals collection handle. It was on the previous page as well, but it's here too, my-best-deals. So I'm going to copy that collection handle. I'm going to go back to the product page, and on the product page I'm going to say that just for this Samsung phone, I'm going to select the default collection handle as my best deals. If I save that and I go back to, I'm just checking that it's saved, yes it has, and I go back to the Samsung phone. I haven't refreshed this page yet, but what should happen here is that I'm going to change this over, I'm going to refresh this page, and because I've now said that when I use this short form URL, i.e. the URL without any mention of a collection in it, as I've said several times in this, it's not as good as using long form URLs, but if we're stuck with these short form URLs, this is a way around it. And I refresh this page, then we should see that this is now showing in my best deals. And that's happening only because I've told this product using a metafield that it should always use that. So I hope that gives you several options. This is not a simple setup, but this is a problem caused by the way themes are configured. The solution is to use long form URLs, but if those themes are not using rel equals canonical and they're not setting up those canonical references properly, then that can risk duplicate content. And so some people, some theme creators especially, have been using short form URLs for everything. This screencast shows you how to cope with those short form URLs and still have control of your breadcrumbs on your product pages, either most of the time using the first or last from the list, or in specific cases using these metafields. And you can use the metafields across the whole of your site if you'd like. I hope that's helpful. Thanks very much for your attention, and if you have any questions or comments, please click Get Support in the app.